How many days do you wear a sweatshirt before it's dirty?
Depends on like where if I'm at the house.
Yeah, if you're not leaving the house.
Oh, it can be good forever. If you don't get food on it.
That's the death knell.
Yeah.
Once food has attached itself.
Yeah.
I count my days I leave the house as double, but I try and aim for like 4 days.
Yeah.
So 4 days at home is fine, but if I do like 2 days at home and then 1 day out, it's done.
For sure, you gotta wash it.
I don't want to be honest about what I do. Listen, man.
And you're like the most public facing of all of us. You're going to school,
yeah,
right?
and I'm trying to figure out
It's college, dude.
being in this. Right, everyone stinks.
People just think you're hooking up all the time wearing the same clothes.
Yeah.
Walk of shame like every day.
No, I mean, I don't mind looking the same as long as I feel like my clothes are indistinct enough that people probably just wonder, but it's not like, oh, he wore that bright yellow SpongeBob shirt yesterday. It's like, no, it's like that might be the same black t-shirt.
Any of you guys watched the Oscars last night?
No.
I always tell myself I'm not gonna, and then I end up watching it.
How'd it go this year?
I mean, it was pretty predictable. Supposedly the Oscars were real strict and didn't want Jimmy Kimmel to make any Will Smith jokes, but he said the only way he was going to host is if he had editorial control on everything he did, so he made a bunch of Will Smith jokes.
Oh my God, what'd he say?
It was pretty funny. I mean, his jokes were funnier than Chris Rock's. I'll give him that.
Oh.
That Netflix special he did was terrible.
Oh,
It
really?
seemed like he was just being mean.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't really funny. It was just like kind of being mean to Will Smith.
Real bitter.
Yeah.
He did it in Jada Pinkett Smith's hometown,
Oh my God.
Baltimore.
I didn't even know that.
And then, yeah, pretty much blame the whole thing on her.
Was that what most of the special was about?
I mean, it was very obviously just biting for time so that he could get to the Will Smith in like the last 10 minutes of it. And when he finally got to it, it was awful. And it was live, and he bungled one of his punchlines that he'd been building a year to. So it was like, yeah, it was kind of fucked. It wasn't very funny at all. Like, my wife was like, can we turn this off? Like, this, I haven't laughed once.
Oh, dude.
I mean, even the crowd didn't seem very into what he was doing. Like, he did the thing where he repeated his punchlines, like, repeatedly again and again. Like, he was trying to elicit a response that just wasn't there. Oscars were pretty predictable, though. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once won Everything, Everywhere for, like, the past 3 months. So that was cool to see them win Best Picture. The Daniels gave pretty good speeches. The only real surprise was I didn't think Jamie Lee Curtis was going to win. She won Best Supporting Actress, and I didn't realize she'd never even been nominated before, but so that was cool. But yeah.
That seems ridiculous.
But I mean, I guess most of the movies I like Jamie Lee Curtis in aren't like Oscar movies. They're like True Lies and Halloween. Like, it's not getting a lot of Oscar cred.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Kihei Kwan, when he went up for the Best Picture win, Harrison Ford was the guy handing it out. So he like gave a big hug to him, and you had this little
cool.
Temple of Doom reunion. That was tight. But yeah, I don't know that it warranted 3.5 hours worth of my night, even though I gave it again reluctantly. So did you watch The Last of Us instead?
Yes, I did. Ben, did you watch Last of Us at all?
Is this show that good?
It's really good, man. Did you play the game at all?
No. Did you?
I did, and like the
Okay.
game was so fucking hyped up, and I didn't really get into it much. Like, I like the environments and like wandering around and doing the story and stuff, but like I kind of felt like it was just worse designed zombies in a 28 Weeks Later thing. But this show is substantially better. Like, I love the way they explain the outbreak and like the whole like fungal infection.
Yeah.
It was way cooler to see it unfold that way, so much so that like I haven't played The Last of Us Part 2, and I don't think I'm ever going to, because I just want to see how they do it on the show now instead.
Yeah, that makes sense. I really like the zombies. I don't know how different they are from the game, but I think part of it too is how carefully they're placing them in the show. I mean, it's not...
They're pretty sparse for
Yeah.
a zombie show.
Yeah, I like that about it. But I think the design is very cool.
Yeah, I love the design in the show. The game, it just kind of looked like a pile of CGI. Like, it
Okay.
did not... Yeah, that's why I was kind of bummed about it. But yeah, I think that in congruence with like the whole explanation of how they are infected and how it spreads, I think that really added a lot of depth to it that made me like it and appreciate it more.
Sure. No, it's...
Sounds great.
You haven't seen
Sounds
any?
awesome. No, but I keep seeing shit about it like everywhere.
It's real
like
good.
hard to miss.
It's just the acting is really great. I feel like it's done more in a way that each episode is like a chapter and it's satisfying. And that might be one of my favorite things about it, because I'm just getting drawn back into that kind of stuff, as opposed to having a whole season of television where there are all these episodes that are just building to the next episode. I think that's probably a product of streaming.
Yeah.
But now that we're going back to doing this more weekly format with a lot of shows, and I like seeing a show that can tell a good story in 45 minutes or an hour. And Last of Us pulled that off pretty much almost every episode. Not every episode, but most of them.
What's the one you're thinking of when you say almost?
No, it's just there are like two that are builders
to
the next episode. But I just thought the pacing was really good. The acting is, Pedro's always just killing it nowadays, I guess.
Is he just going to be typecast as like the sci-fi transporter now?
Well, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous that Mandalorian started back up again before Last of Us even finished, and you've got Pedro Pascal playing out the lone wolf and cub trope in two different properties, and two of like the hugest shows that so many people are watching.
Do you think there's a distinction, like growing up when we did, it felt like it was a big deal, like when George Clooney went from ER to movies? Like, do you think there's a difference now being like a TV star versus a movie star?
In some cases there is.
Like, is Pedro a TV star?
I think most people knew him from Game of Thrones originally. So
right.
I knew him from Narcos.
Right.
But I don't know which one
okay.
I saw that first.
But he's done. I guess he hasn't done a ton of film. But he's
in the Nick Cage movie. But
Nick Cage and Wonder Woman.
He was.
Neither of which are the second one. Yeah.
Oh, I never saw the second one.
Yeah, it's not great. Neither of those are great movies, but he's just been killing it. It's awesome.
It's definitely like the first video game adaptation that's better than the game for me. Like, it's head and shoulders above every other video game adaptation we've got thus far. And we're going to have like a lot of them this year, it turns out. David Harbour's in a Gran Turismo movie. The Twisted Metal series is finally coming out from Sony.
Wow.
We got Mario next month. And I think they're actually making a sequel to Silent Hill, which that was my favorite for the longest time. So I'm glad to see the director that made the first one is making a second one that's supposed to come out by the end of the year. So.
What's interesting is most of those, there's no story to those games.
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
Right.
It's going to be like the Need for Speed movie with Jesse Pinkman.
Twisted Metal.
I've been wanting a movie of that forever, man. I think that would be so good. They're going to fuck it up because they always do, but...
I just want to see that ice cream guy with the... Oh, it's a clown with his head on fire, right?
I think he's going to be like CGI'd.
Yeah, it's probably going to look terrible.
Yeah. I wish they'd just get like Dave Bautista. He'd be great for Sweet Tooth.
What else can we say about The Last of Us? Bella Ramsey.
Yeah, she's great.
Oh my gosh. She's another Game of Thrones actor, so it's interesting.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she was in a couple seasons of that show. She was just kind of like, I don't know, just a character, Yeah. And this is like a fully fleshed out.
Right. She's a central story arc, basically.
Oh, man, she's like...
The whole thing rests on her.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how it's like billed or anything, but she seems like more of the lead of the show.
Speaking of Game of Thrones, have they like said how long the show's gonna go? Because there's only 2 games. Like, are they gonna get in the George R.R. Martin thing where they're outpacing the games?
I think they said that they're doing game 2 in 2 seasons. So it would be...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's probably just going to be a 3-season show. Unless HBO begs them to do it. But maybe they won't.
I'd be down.
And then they'll do like a... They'll do a House of Dragon style spin-off.
I was going to say, they'll do a prequel with all the years in between with Pedro's character. What was it, 20 years since the opening scene?
Yeah, something like that.
There's a lot of time they could fill there. They got a nice convenient gap.
Before The Last of Us.
The first of us. The first infected. That's it. Did you hear that HBO Max is changing their name to just Max? They think HBO is the reason people aren't signing up.
Dude, come on.
What is Discovery doing to this company?
There was a focus group too that like had to give some sort of insinuation that was the case.
I'm stunned though, because like hands down, like batting percentage wise, HBO Max has more good shows than any other service, right?
Original,
yeah. So how are they just so far behind?
Yeah, dude, I don't know.
So we have that Nielsen report. They are
Leslie Nielsen?
6th in the streaming power rankings, behind Disney Plus, Prime, Hulu, Netflix, and YouTube.
Is that really that bad, though? You got to go up against, like, giants, and you're number 6 out of, like, how many?
Right, I don't know.
Is that bad?
I just expect them to be higher, I guess.
I'm not surprised Disney, Netflix are ahead of it. Is Amazon Prime not ahead of it?
Amazon's ahead of it.
Okay.
So many of them. What'd you say you subscribed to the other day? MGM Plus?
MGM Plus. Because, yeah, I had to get signed up to watch Perpetual Grace LTD.
That's the new show from the Patriot showrunner.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Stoked on it.
On to the next one. And that one only got a season, right?
It only got a season. I hear it gets left on a cliffhanger, so really sucks.
He'll get one. Eventually. Maybe.
Think the Puppet Show will get like 5 seasons?
Yeah, he's got a puppet show now on AMC.
Yeah.
I don't know. If all you need is like voice recordings, you could do that. I guess as long as you got puppeteers.
Yeah.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone said that was a pain in the ass, though, after Team America. There's no more puppets. Yeah. All right. The madness season is upon us. After much deliberation, we've decided that interest in the 64 best sports movie was minimal. We can all just agree it's basketball and move on, right?
Yes.
And it's not really fair to even judge the best sports movie of all time until we've all had a chance to see 80 for Brady.
Look at that. What is that?
What'd you say?
I was yawning. I said, what the fuck is
So
that?
yawn, what the fuck is that? You don't have to look it up.
No, look, it sounds fake.
It's not fake. It's a real movie. What's the tomato meter on that?
You want to guess?
I'm going to say like 60s.
And, okay, for tomato meter, what do you think the audience said about it?
Audience is probably like 90.
Yeah.
They love it.
Are you looking at it right now?
No, I'm just looking at you, babe.
It looks like it's a Golden Girls prequel.
All right, so let's look at this bracket. We got our 1 seeds. Blue Album, Dookie, Nevermind. Those are pretty unanimous. Does Illmatic deserve to be the 4th seed?
What's Max's? Do you have a say, Max?
We all have a say. That's what this is. This is the round table where we decide
What's he think?
who gets in, who's out.
What are you guys are the sportos here. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
So it's, yeah, like, basically they seed it by the best record gets, like, the easiest path to the finals. So
Yeah.
Illmatic gets to go up against Harvey Danger. Even though I love Harvey Danger, it's going to
Okay.
get blown out. It's an underdog.
Oh, I see. Do you want to just say like a prayer for Harvey Danger, or
I pick Harvey Danger.
Of course you
What?
do. You never heard the other
I've
one.
never heard Nas, and I know that Harvey Danger song.
oh, what the
And it's a
fuck?
good-ass song.
This is what's gonna happen. We're gonna
Dude.
we're gonna be so disappointed in our fans when they vote on Harvey Danger and Weird Al wins. And I don't think Ben thinks Weird Al should even be in the tournament. Probably.
No.
What do you think, Max? Are you a Weird Al apologist?
No, but I think that's tight that he's here.
He's more than parodies, Ben. He's got
No,
some.
he's not.
He's got some incredible singles.
Are
Yeah,
his singles?
he's got
Originals.
some originals.
But are his originals, like, still goofy?
I mean, they're funny. He's Weird Al.
Yeah.
Max, was there any on the bubble that you thought deserved to be in? I've got a list here. We got Megadeth, Raekwon, Cocteau Twins, Bikini Kill, Everclear, Tool.
I browsed that list and there was nothing that I was too bummed to see go.
Does anyone care about Bush?
Yeah, dude, I do. Do you think Live's underrated? That one now had like 5 bangers, dude.
That's the thing about 90s records. There's so many that have like a ton of really good singles, and then the rest of the songs are just shit.
Yeah, I don't know anything else
Like-
besides those singles.
Yeah, that's the thing with Bush. Same thing with Stone Temple Pilots.
Mm-hmm.
They're very
Yeah.
90s. They've got awesome singles, but the rest of that record. All the music purists, though, are like making me feel guilty that I don't have Pavement on there. But I don't. Do you guys like Pavement?
Who?
Pavement never really clicked for me. Sorry.
What about Pearl Jam? Do we just have to let them in because it's
Yes.
a 90s tournament?
I'm not a big fan of them, but like, yeah,
Who is?
a lot of people.
Who's
A
keeping
lot
them?
of people.
I think
a lot
there's
of
a lot of
people.
people.
I feel like Pearl Jam fans are like people who think Nirvana gets too much credit. It's like Pearl Jam's the real grunge legend. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, it's fucking.
Is that the mentality? Is that what's going on here? Or am I just making that up
You're not making that up.
to vilify Pearl Jam fans?
There are a lot of people that think Eddie Vedder's like the best songwriter ever.
I don't agree with that at all. What about the bracket itself? Are you like, what the fuck is Real Big Fish doing in here? Is there anything that stands
Yeah.
out? Like, we need to get these guys out of here?
That's what I think when I see it.
No, well,
Why are you so anti-ska, Ben?
you gotta. Yeah, I don't know. I am personally also. I'm with Ben on that one. I am anti-ska.
Thank you, dude.
What happened?
I don't know.
It's never been something that I've heard and been like, let me listen to that again.
I did used to like it, and it just kind of, it ran its course for me.
Do you consider rancid ska? I like the stuff that's more punk than ska, if that makes sense. Like, I don't like the shit with all the horns.
I like take sides. I mean,
the
I
iPads.
I like when you can do cool stuff with ska, but I mean, we don't have to get into it because now I feel like a jerk. Because what's that? Streetlight Manifesto? Oh man, they gave me
Their
some.
shit's so annoying.
I had some great times with that band, but I think those days are done. I don't know why.
I still like that Real Big Fish album. It's good. It's staying on for sure. It's
Well, I know there's got to be.
It's like a 9
That's how
seed.
some
But
of this is gonna go.
are there any bands that deserve 2 albums? We've got a couple 2-album bands.
We need
in
to
there.
litigate those. Yeah.
Nimrod and Dookie are both in there. In Utero and Nevermind are both in there. Weezer and Pinkerton. Midnight Marauders and Low End Theory. Rage Against the Machine, self-titled, and then the Battle of Los Angeles.
I take their asses out, too.
I would take out like all the doubles, honestly.
All the doubles?
Yeah, man.
Hot take.
For Megadeth and Bush, you're taking out In Utero and Nimrod?
It's just tough. If you look at any of these bands and try to work off of like how influential they've been, I think it makes it so difficult.
I feel like fucking Charlie in that It's Always Sunny episode. Like I have a fucking conspiracy map on my wall trying to figure out, okay, so Pavement deserves to be here, and Janet Jackson had this really influential album here that nobody talks about. Then we got the Deftones, and then Tool, and then we got MF Doom.
Yeah.
Do you have the Deftones in here?
It's a lot. No,
This seems
Deftones
like
didn't
it would
make
be
it.
difficult.
I tried to like REM again. It didn't take. Ben, do you know who Portishead is?
Portishead?
Can we cut
Which-
a Green Day album?
Are you fucking trying to get a rise out of me?
Ben was going to angle to get Insomniac added and get a third
Oh
one.
my gosh.
Give me 3. But I get why you say they're like, because Dookie's obviously going to beat Nimrod, so like, what is
Right.
the point of having double representation?
That's how I feel. Yeah.
That's fair.
I think
I feel
Nimrod
like-
deserves to be there.
Same with Nevermind and
In Utero?
Yeah.
See, this is again, maybe this is just my bias. I like In Utero better than Nevermind, and I like Nimrod better than Dookie. So
But-
I want him to hang on and
Yeah, but it's
at
not
least
gonna
put up a fight. It's not going to happen.
It's not gonna happen.
Same thing with Pinkerton and the Blue Album. I like Pinkerton better.
This is easy. You already know what needs to be done.
All right, so what other doubles do we have? We have 2 Outkast albums. Is that too many?
I think so. I like Outkast, but
Which one do we take?
what do they have? What are the 2?
Quemini and ATLians. Their 2 best records. I don't know. I think doubles be damned. I'd rather take 2 Nirvana records over putting in Everclear or somebody else.
Well, what else do we? Let's see. I don't personally understand why DMX is so far down the list.
I think because I forgot he had a 90s record. I just
mean,
always assume.
Animal cruelty aside, he is pretty big deal.
Yeah. Was his 90s record big, though? I feel like he didn't blow up till the 2000s.
Yeah, you could be right.
Yeah, I realized a lot of, like, 90s staples I just don't like. Like, Ween is terrible. People like Ween?
People like Ween. Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't either.
Do we not have any Red Hot Chili Peppers?
We don't, and that's intentional.
Yeah.
We don't.
I mean, I
Damn,
get
I
it.
forgot you hate them.
And if, yeah.
I like
Okay.
it.
I like songs that they do. I don't like an album that they do.
I like when they don't rap, though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
I'm kind of just curious how they would do, man. You know? We gotta let the bracket decide. I totally get it.
Let the people decide.
And honestly, if it's, I understand if it's just a thing of principle, like, cause yeah.
I mean, I'm all up for seeing what happens. I thought the same thing about Korn, but I also understand
I do like some Red Hot
boundaries
Chili
here.
Peppers.
we're living in a
It's
society.
true, yeah.
You said you do like the Chili Peppers?
I do like some of their songs.
I do too.
Well, whose spot are they taking?
Fucking
Promise Ring?
Nimrod, dude.
Stop
yeah.
poking at me, Max.
Or no, that
You brought up Nimrod twice in my presence.
one of the Outkast albums.
I don't know. Which Outkast album are we outcasting?
Well, yeah, I don't know. After looking more closely at this list, maybe I'm being a little harsh on the doubles. Because,
There's not.
I mean,
Unless you could make a really strong case for Tool, just because I'm not familiar with Anima or their self-titled record. I've only heard like Lateralis and their later stuff.
I would take the Tool album
Yeah.
over something else. Yeah, I like that one.
What do we got here at the bottom that Tool can replace? Promise Ring? Do either of you guys like Promise Ring, or is that just a me thing? The Promise Ring? Nothing Feels Good, and Prodigy. I don't know if either of you guys listen to Prodigy. That was big for me growing up. What about Built to Spill? Are either of you guys into them?
No.
Are you gonna say who?
Yeah.
They could go out. They're near the bottom. We can take them out for Tool.
All right, let's do it.
What about the Black Album, Metallica?
I don't give a shit about Metallica. Honestly, man, like they have some great, like a couple great songs, but it's not enough for all the bullshit that they pull.
So Metallica fucking sucks, huh?
Metallica sucks.
Okay.
I mean,
Tool is cool. Better than the
Tool
Promise
is cool.
Ring.
Put them up against Metallica. Let's
Metallica's not even in. I was just making sure because that one's kind of like iconic. Yeah. I didn't know like who gets in on Legacy alone.
I mean,
the Cranberries, Metallica, Chili Peppers, Oasis. I gotta be honest. I listened to the Flaming Lips. And I did not get the appeal. I know you really like that one.
Yeah.
I got them
love
at a
that
16.
album. Oh man, I hope people prove you wrong.
Are you into the Flaming Lips, Ben?
No.
Yeah, I don't know how our listeners feel about Flaming Lips.
I don't either. I'm always surprised by somebody when we do these. Like last year, the fucking Jim Carrey's The Mask went like to the Elite Eight in the comic book tournament. Does Soft Bulletin need to be up higher than 16, Max? Am I being too harsh on you? I feel like you suggested one record and I put it in the worst possible spot.
Right, they have to play Weezer.
Right. You could have played
Weezer's
Duke round one.
No, it's not fair, dude. You got to give them a better chance than that. How about we also swap?
Don't bring up Nimrod again, dude.
No, not Nimrod. I'm coming for Ryan this time.
There we go.
I only put one Offspring album on here, all right? You know how much that hurt me?
No. We take Pinkerton out for the Ween album.
What the fuck?
Why do you want to hurt me?
You got your Blue album in there.
For
You're
Ween?
fine. For Ween, dude.
Do you like Ween, Max?
Ween is underappreciated.
So why didn't you say something when Ryan was like going in on him?
What?
Ryan was like shitting on him earlier.
I was.
Oh, I must have been getting drunk or something. I don't know.
Ryan, it was like at least 20 seconds of him shitting on Ween.
We were like, who the fuck likes Ween?
Sometimes when I'm not talking, I just don't really listen.
Does it have to be Pinkerton?
No, but it has to be one of the doubles.
Fuck, didn't we say nobody likes Built to Spill? Get Built to Spill out of there. Then we'll put in your fucking Ween.
Yeah, put in my Ween. I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen to that Ween album and make sure it's good.
I was gonna say, is that even the good Ween album?
Right.
You don't know?
It's one of them.
Okay, so this is a very passionate campaign.
Passionate campaign to get rid of doubles. That's just my whole platform. I'll get rid of all the doubles.
I was very restrained. I only put one Offspring album on there, one Beastie Boys album on there. You know how much that hurt me? And then you just come straight for Pinkerton.
He's trying to make you give it a fucking Weezer, man.
I felt like after I came for Nimrod, I needed to come for you too.
I appreciate that.
Because I know that hurt Ben.
Yeah, like 3 times it hurt Ben, dude.
Is there something that we can cut for MF Doom? Because it would be good to have him in here.
What's at the bottom? Soundgarden, AFI, Prodigy.
I don't know what Prodigy is.
Man,
What is
I
Prodigy?
love Prodigy. I feel like you're gonna listen to Prodigy tonight and just feel so bad at what you're saying right now.
All I said is, what is Prodigy?
We can take Prodigy out. It's okay.
I'm not even saying that.
You gave me Pinkerton. All right, this is pretty decent. We can launch this.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna bring up some crazy fucking band we never heard of and be like, "What about this? What about that?"
Yeah.
No, I mean, and we've forgotten something that we'll feel bad about.
Hole? Why did you giggle?
Because, dude, I don't. It's fucking.
All right, so today on the show with us, we have Jordan Hudkins of Rozwell Kid, the Rozwell Kid. If you're going to try and win somebody over with one Rozwell Kid song, what are you showing them?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I would just give them the whole catalog for free. I would just give them a copy of everything. Hey, here you go. Knock yourself out on your own time when I'm not around. And don't tell me what you thought about it.
Are you able to listen to your own music, or do you kind of get weirded out a little bit by that?
It depends. Usually by the time, like, done recording something, I'm pretty over it. I don't want to hear it for a while. And
Yeah.
then performing the song live, it kind of becomes like, I don't know, like you get so detached from the song that it's not even like hearing the song anymore.
Yeah.
So then, like when you take an extended break from performing it live, like we just did over the past few years, and then go back, like I went back the other day and listened to something, like trying to relearn a part or something. And I don't know, that's pretty fun when you go back and revisit it years later. That's always cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's super cool when you revisit it and you're like, oh wow, that wasn't complete dog shit. That's really good. That's the best.
Has there been anything where it was like a grower on you, where at first you're like, I don't know about this song, and ended up becoming one of your favorites?
No, not really. I feel like if I'm happy with something out of the gate, I kind of tend to stay happy with it. Usually it's the opposite where I'll be really happy with something, and then as time goes on, I get less and less enthused about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably pretty typical for anyone making anything.
So the band started in 2011. Was there any specific song or artist that made you think, okay, I want to do this, I want to make my own music?
Yeah, I mean, I remember specifically I was going through a really big Rentals phase, like that band The Rentals, Matt Sharp's band.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to The Rentals a lot when I was in college, and I was working at the school newspaper, and I was listening to a bunch of Rentals B-sides and stuff that they had uploaded to I believe it was their MySpace at the time. And I was like, this rocks. This kind of music is so sick. I just want to make music like this.
Yeah.
So I think I wrote a couple of early proto Rozwell Kid songs like that month, and then just kind of kept going from there. Obviously, Weezer is one of my favorite bands. They were a huge influence. Ozma was another huge influence. And then like NoFX and Green Day were the reason that those were the bands that like got me into playing guitar in high school. So
yeah.
the Fat Wreck and Epitaph, Punkorama bands, all that stuff. That was what got me into like music and wanting to make music.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like, writing style and the kind of music that I wanted to create, it really came out of like that like mid 90s post grunge alternative power pop sort of sound and vibe.
Yeah, definitely. So you're from West Virginia. Is there much of like a DIY scene there, or how did you guys get your bearings playing live shows?
There wasn't a whole lot going on. There's a few places in West Virginia where there's some cool stuff, like like the college towns, like Morgantown, where West Virginia University is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have a really awesome rock club there called 123 Pleasant Street. And we played a lot of shows there, like Cutting Our Teeth, and a lot of cool bands always come through and play 123. And it's been a nice like hub for the state and for music and bands touring through. It's a cool spot to hit. Cool bands in Huntington, cool bands in Morgantown. Charleston, West Virginia, which is the capital, has cool bands. And then we are like over in the Eastern Panhandle, which is like the little offshoot of the state over by like DC and Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
And we all were in like a little college town here, and that's how we all met and started playing together. And I don't think there's not a whole lot going on here now. A lot of the places to like do shows have either stopped doing shows or have been closed for renovations for years. So
yeah,
there's not a lot happening here. There's probably a cool house show scene that I don't know about, but that's the situation as of now. Wait, where are you right now?
I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana, so we're very sparse as far as the scene as well. Kind of the culture here is basically if you want to see somebody that you can get a record of, you've got to travel like 2-3 hours in any direction, whether it's going up to Detroit or Chicago down to Indy. But was there a lot of that? Did you guys have to travel to go see your favorite bands?
Pretty much. I mean, that club in Morgantown that I was telling you about, that was where I saw my very first rock show when I was in high school. I saw the Suicide Machines and Against All Authority.
Nice.
Yeah, it was sick. They always had like the cool punk and ska shows.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was like from where I grew up, that was a good hour and a half drive. And then from where we are now, one of the reasons that we started touring so much, and in the beginning is because there wasn't really anywhere to play around here. So we would have to drive like, an hour and a half to DC or 3 hours to Philly or, whatever it is, just to get out and get in front of a crowd and, go to a place where people were going to shows.
So were you big into ska growing up?
Yeah, I love ska. I remember the first time I heard Real Big Fish, my mom had just read an article about the band, the PH.
Oh yeah.
and fish.
Yeah.
And so we were really into community theater when I was growing up, my parents and my sister and me. And like we were getting ready for a rehearsal, and there was this cool older high school girl who was running the sound for the show. And she would play her music over the PA while we were getting ready for rehearsal. And she was playing that second Real Big Fish record, the Why Do They Rock So Hard?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She was playing that, and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. What is this? And she said, Real Big Fish. And in my head, I conflated the PHISH fish and Real Big. And I was like, oh, this is that band my mom was telling me about that she read about in the newspaper. And the only other thing I remember, other than thinking it was cool, I remember saying, this sounds like game show music.
Yeah, that fits.
But I loved it. And then I had an older friend in high school who was really into ska. He was really into Less Than Jake and Real Big Fish. And he, let me borrow those records and really turned me onto them and the Punkorama compilations and NoFX and all the stuff that would eventually go on to consume the rest of my high school years and college years.
Right on. Yeah. I think Suicide Machines was one of my first shows too. Went up to Flint, Michigan.
Isn't that like where they're from? That must have been sick. I was A Match and Some Gasoline, that record. That was
yeah.
They had I just remember they had these static TVs just playing static on stage. That was so cool because it was literally the first bit of rock show stage production, trickery I'd ever seen, and it's pretty funny to think about now. But I was into it. I loved it.
So we're doing a March Madness tournament bracket of the best 90s albums of all time.
Yeah.
Which is really hard to narrow down to 64, we're learning.
So you haven't even started. I mean, you're still trying to get the initial 64.
We've got some on the bubble that we're trying to weed out and get it down. But what would you say are your 4 number 1 seeds?
For best albums of the 90s?
Yeah.
No, there's no other criteria. Just it has to have been released in the 90s.
Just released in the 90s. Seminal 90s records.
For me personally, it has to be, well, shoot, this is hard. Wow. Yeah, I could see how you could go into this really cavalierly thinking it would be easy to get this done and then immediately being like, oh no, this is going to be way more complicated and time consuming.
Yeah, it's a mess. And I'm sure I can already hear people complaining you forgot about this band or you forgot this. What about this? But
yeah there's going to be some esoteric, industrial house music that you didn't include that everyone's gonna, some subgroup of people is going to be extremely upset about. I would have to pick. I mean, will you let me know if they're on your bracket so far as I name them?
Yeah, we've got our 4 picked. I'll see if they overlap. I'm assuming probably 2 of them do.
What are the 4 that you picked?
The 4 that we've got so far as our 1 seeds are the Blue Album, Dookie,
yes,
Nevermind.
I was probably going to not say Nevermind just because that feels pretty, I mean, that's a given, right? It has to be there. The Blue Album and Dookie were the only 2 I'd thought of. Before you say your last one, I was going to say a Pavement record, probably.
Yeah, we're kind of debating which one because I really like Wowie Zowie, but obviously Crooked's the one everybody's big on.
Yeah, and then Slanted and Enchanted, the first one, though, is pretty, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. And then, you got the issue where it's do you put in a bunch of different bands or do you have 4 albums from one artist, even if they're all better than, every Everclear album?
Yeah. I feel like OK Computer probably has to go in there too, right? I mean,
yeah.
I'm not the biggest Radiohead fan, but I mean, that's the thing, though. Now I just feel like I'm saying that because everyone, when they write a list about 90s records, they're like, OK Computer is one of the best, but I mean, I don't know that I've ever listened to that record all the way through before, if I'm being honest. Is that disingenuous for me to offer that up? I feel like
no. Go ahead and offer whatever your heart tells you. Currently, we have that same situation with Pearl Jam, where we're all like,
oh God, yeah.
If you come up with a 90s list that doesn't have Pearl Jam, that seems weird, but none of us like Pearl Jam. So
I tried the other day. That's really funny that you brought that up. Literally 2 weeks ago, I tried to listen to, is it 10? 10's the one, right?
Yeah, that's the one we got.
10 is the one. I tried to listen to that record all the way through, and I think I almost finished the first song, and I was like, I'm not into this. I just couldn't do it. I don't know. I just never grabbed me. Something about Pearl Jam, just the production quality, how it has this weird, swampy bar band bend to it. It's just I don't know. It's not my jam. I don't know.
Even listening to it highest quality audio, it still sounds like it's a warped cassette tape.
Oh, I was going to say, personally, I would probably put When did Doolittle come out? Was that an 80s record? That was in the 80s. Were there any good 90s Pixies records? Bossa Nova?
Bossa Nova's in there, yeah. One of the co-hosts was arguing for Bush.
16 Stone or Razorback
Yeah.
Suitcase?
No, I even listening to 16 Stone, I'm like, yeah, the singles are awesome, but there are some really bad filler tracks in there.
There's the same thing. I want to say maybe 4 years ago, I was like, I'm going to listen to this whole record. I think I started to live tweet it too.
Yeah.
And yeah, that record is not good. The same, I mean, Machine Head rocks.
Yeah.
And, Come Down is cool. Glycerin's, it is what it is. I could probably go the rest of my life without hearing that song again, but it's a good song. It's Bush's Wonderwall, right? Oh, you got any Oasis records on the bracket?
We do. I think that one's on the bubble too.
Yeah.
And this is probably going to grind your gears, particularly because I know what a fan you are. But I've been arguing with one of the co-hosts about whether or not Weird Al's Bad Hair Day should be in there because it's full of parodies. Should that get precedent over original albums? But it's got some good originals on it.
It's got some great originals on it. And I feel like every generation has their big Weird Al record. And I don't know that, someone 10 years older than me would agree that Bad Hair Day is the Weird Al record, but it was definitely the Weird Al record for me. I mean, I was the right age when that came out to where it was like, you're 10 years old. This is exactly the shit you want to hear all day, every day,
Yeah. So you guys recorded UHF on DVD as like a single. Did you guys get any buzz back from Weird Al of hearing the song or anything?
I have an email that I sent from our publicist for that record, Jamie Coletta.
Oh, yeah.
She was the publicist at Side One Dummy at the time. And she sent me an email. She was like, hey, I just wanted you to see this. So I emailed it to myself with the subject line, coolest thing that'll ever happen to you. And it was a response from Weird Al's publicist or agent. I don't remember who. One of them was like, hey, it was basically Jamie pitched him to like, do you want to like be involved if we do a video for this song? And he passed on it, of course, but the email was like, hey, Al wanted me to let you know he really appreciates it and he's going to have to pass, but he thinks the song is great. And also, I think it's great too. And I helped make UHF or whatever. I don't know. It was awesome. It blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. So I have that tucked away in my inbox somewhere. I should probably favorite it or print it out and frame it or something because it's probably the closest I'll ever get to the man himself.
Do you have like a Mount Rushmore of Weird Al tracks? We did a top 40 when the biopic came out.
Let's see. You did a top 40?
Yeah.
What was number one on your list?
Since You've Been Gone. Old Bad Hair Day again.
It's on Off the Deep End. You Don't Love Me Anymore. You know that song?
Yeah, that one's similar. It's in there somewhere. I'm looking at the list now.
Yeah, it's like the extreme More Than Words pastiche. That song's amazing. I love that song. I recorded a cover of it once for this. It was supposed to be for like a 90s comp that never happened. Maybe one day I'll throw that up on the internet. But
that would be awesome.
Yeah, I love that song. And I think that's one of his best originals. Were you picking like top 40 originals or just top 40 in general?
It was a mix. I think our top like 4 are all originals. We got Since You've Been Gone, Happy Birthday, Hardware Store, and Everything You Know Is Wrong.
Oh yeah, Horoscope for Today is a really good one too.
Yeah.
Mine would probably be Horoscope for Today, You Don't Love Me Anymore. Can I pick one of the polka medleys?
Oh yeah, for sure.
The alternative polka from Bad Hair Day, that probably changed my life hearing that.
Yeah.
It did change my life actually because it has that basket case part in it.
Oh yeah.
And that's like I had seen my cousin watching Basket Case on MTV when I was younger, and I just remember thinking it was weird. And then when I heard that alternative polka part where he does Basket Case, I was like, I know this. I recognize this from somewhere. And then I remembered and then looked into it and then got into Green Day. So that's definitely up there for me. And if I had to pick a fourth one, I would probably pick Everything You Know Is Wrong is really good. I don't know, but that's already on your list. I feel like
that's all right.
Oh, I'll go with that one then. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, your third LP, Too Shabby, that was kind of the breakout record for you guys. It's definitely like a 10-10, no skips for me. Did you guys feel any different when you were recording that? Like, did you know it felt like a significant change or moment for the band, or it just felt like another record?
I knew it was the best sounding thing we'd ever done, and I knew that I felt like the songwriting was the strongest thus far.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely felt like a step forward for us, but I don't think none of us really anticipated it, kicking off the years afterwards of, constant touring and signing to a label, making another record, and all the people we would meet and play with, it definitely, was the little tiny spark that, lit the little fire for us and got us going, which was cool. I just remember after that record came out and The World Is asked us to go on tour with them, I remember we were all just kind of like, yeah, let's go, because it'll be cool if we got to go to California once with this band.
Mm-hmm.
and then that was the extent of our career plans or goals. It was just like, yeah, we'll get to go to California once and play, and who knows what'll happen. Probably nothing, but
yeah, you also do the album artwork for all your guys' stuff. Where did the inspiration come for Too Shabby? Because that's become pretty iconic.
I know it seems pretty like boneheaded now, but I remember my justification at the time. I was like, this is literally how I feel at my day job.
Gotcha.
Like on the phone, but I'm not listening or paying attention to anything, and I don't know. Basically, that's kind of where the inspiration came from.
Gotcha. So as a Simpsons fan, do you think the show should wrap up, as it's only had 15 or so good seasons and it's kind of dwindling? Should they do another movie?
I was just talking to our drummer Sean a little bit about this, because we both saw this clip, I guess, in one of the more recent episodes. Martin Prince gets home from school and he walks in his house and takes off his shirt, and he's got like a wife and kids. It's like this whole like reveal that he's got like this whole family at home. This is like elementary school kid.
Yeah.
And Sean sent me the clip and he was like, yo, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, I saw this the other day and it really bummed me out that The Simpsons is still on the air. Like, this sucks so bad. Like, I don't want to watch this anymore. Why? What are they doing? It's crazy. That writer's room must be either extremely stressful or the least amount of stress, because it's like, we've done everything. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, we can do whatever we want. Are people even watching it anymore? Do you know anybody who watches The Simpsons?
I don't think so. It's got to just be like a marketing machine, right? It's just keeping the name out there so they can continue to sell toothbrushes and whatever else merch they can come up with.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't think it was Matt Groening, but I feel like I heard somebody once say, like, The Simpsons will stop being on the air when it stops making money or whatever. And who knows when that will be.
Yeah, especially if it's in Disney's hands. They'll just keep cranking that thing forever.
Yeah, for sure. No, I don't think there should be another movie, although it kind of blows my mind to remember that the movie came out was 2007 or something like that. It was a long time ago at this point. I remember that was such a big deal. I was so excited for it. And I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed the movie. Did you like the movie?
Yeah, I didn't think it was bad. I had kind of like fallen off watching it regularly, so it was nice to kind of like reacquaint myself with the characters and not have to know what's going on.
Are you a big Simpsons head? Do you have a favorite season or anything? Do you have like a top 2 seasons, top 3 seasons?
It's got to be probably like 3, 4, I feel like, is the sweet spot. I feel like right when Mr. Burns gets shot is usually when I stop watching.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, what about you? Is Simpsons season 3 the peak?
I felt a little disingenuous with that lyric because it rolls off the tongue, but I don't know that I would say that is my go-to favorite. It's probably 4 or 5. I think 4 might be one of my favorites.
Yeah.
There's the later episode, not late, super late. It might be like season 8 maybe or 7. I can't remember. It's the one with the lemon tree. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
I think that might be my favorite Simpsons episode. There's so many good jokes in that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one always cracks me up. It's such a good episode.
It is weird. Those like long running comedy shows, like Saturday Night Live is kind of the same thing. Like, people kind of just watch clips of it, but I don't know anyone that's super into Saturday Night Live like it was back in its heyday.
No, I watch Saturday Night Live every week.
Oh, do you?
I'm always bummed.
Yeah.
I mean, every now and then there's like something funny that breaks through, but like for the most part I always am like, why did I watch that? So disappointed, and like, I don't know.
It's one of those things where like somebody will send me a clip and I'm like, oh, that was really funny, maybe I should give it another shot. But then when I watch the whole episode, it's like, no, that's that must have just been a one-off.
I feel like I've heard people say, everybody looks on the golden era of SNL, like Will Ferrell era, or like the Chris Farley 90s era, with rose-colored glasses, because if you go back and watch like those full 90-minute episodes that those classic sketches are in, I think it's per capita mostly, dog shit like everything else, really. At the end of the day, like, there's a bunch of really bad stuff in there, but it's just the cream rises to the top. You should do a March Madness bracket for the top SNL cast members.
That would be a good one. So I'm gonna call my one guy out because he was telling me that he thinks Molly Shannon is the best SNL cast member of all time.
Wow, really? I mean,
that's
she's
a bold
pretty top
take.
tier. She's pretty top tier. She's good. Yeah, she's versatile and she's hilarious. So I don't know.
Underutilized.
That might be a surprise contender for the top spot.
I mean, are you like a child of the Farley Sandler 90s?
I was a little bit later than that.
Okay.
I was more like Sherry O'Terry, Will Ferrell, like their early years, Molly Shannon, Chris Kattan as Mr. Peepers and Mango.
Exactly. He's great. Chris Kattan's got quite a little resume. Old Monkey Bone.
Monkey Bone, I laughed till I cried. The first time I saw that scene where he rises from the dead and runs through the streets.
Oh, yeah.
I laughed until I cried. And then I tried to watch it again. And I didn't think it was funny the second time. I don't know what was going on with me the first night. I mean, it was an emotionally vulnerable space watching Monkey Bone. We've all been there, though, right?
Yeah, I think that's just the Chris Kattan effect.
You remember Corky Romano?
I was going to say that I had that same experience with Corky Romano. I went to the movie theater for Corky Romano, and it was like the funniest thing I'd ever seen. And I bought it on DVD, and I watched it once, and that was it.
My sister, that was her favorite movie for a while, was Corky Romano.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember is that line where he goes, "You guys want some cookies?"
I think that was the only reason we went and saw it, because we just all laughed at the trailer for that. We're like, okay, we need to see that and him singing "Take on Me," and that's about it. That's Corky Romano.
I can't remember. Was he a vet in that movie? Is that what he was? Like a vet who was a secret agent or something? Or
I think he was like the black sheep of the mob family.
Oh, okay.
And so they were using him. I don't remember why they were using him to gather information, but he was used by the FBI to spy on his family in the mob. And
Oh, okay.
Was
he a vet though? Like, was that his job in the movie? I can't, for some reason I feel like he was a vet, but maybe now I think I might be mixing him up with Ace Ventura.
No, I think you're right. I think that was like his day job, but then for some reason the FBI recruited him to spy on his family.
What a wild concept for a film.
Young Zach Galifianakis is in that.
Really? Wait, who does Zach play in that?
He's just like a throwaway role of like the guy who's hooking Chris Kattan up with like a wire or something and gets real impatient with him. But yeah, he sells it well.
That's amazing.
So when you guys recorded All Out of Ways, like a song to tell people that you're going on tour, you're kind of insinuating that it can be a little draining to be online and be out there and available for people all the time. Do you have to kind of set boundaries for yourself so that you're not feeling like you're on the Rozwell Kid clock 24/7?
It hasn't really been an issue as of late. I've just kind of not been paying attention. I got rid of my Facebook, so I haven't checked the Rozwell Kid Facebook in months. But it was always just spam anyway. Like, it was never anything. I would post on Facebook about, going on tour, and like 10 people would see the post. I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing? You have to pay to get anybody to see it. So I don't even know. Like, I kind of just gave up on that years ago. I was really hot and heavy into Twitter for a while, but then that kind of just became a bummer to log on to Twitter. And now Instagram is like, I feel like such an old man just complaining about social media, but my Instagram is just like, it's nothing but ads for like boots and pants now. So I joined TikTok, and I never post on TikTok. I did for that last run of shows that we did. That was my first experiment using TikTok, but I'm always worried I'm just gonna do something unintentionally cringy, and I won't realize it. and then did you see that are you on TikTok?
I'm not. I've told myself I'm at my social media capacity, but I'm sure I'll probably break down at some point the worse the other ones get.
Yeah, I don't use it very often. I mean, I look at it because it's addictive, but I don't post that often. But it's all like millennials versus Gen Z versus Gen X on TikTok, and then all of them hate boomers. So it's like it's generation wars on TikTok all the time.
Yeah, that sounds.
It's either that or like you hear so many people farting on TikTok. Like, I don't, and so many cat videos. But that's the other thing too, is like, maybe I just exposed myself for having a weird For You page, because that's what I see all the time. It's like like people complaining about millennials, fart videos, and cats. So I don't know.
That's just, you're feeding the algorithm.
See, maybe I should just stay away from it all. I don't know. But yeah, I wrote that song because I was like, it gets exhausting to post about the same tour dates over and over, especially if it's a small run, like through the same 5 dates over and over and over again. So I just wrote that song as a little tongue in cheek, nod to the exhaustion of feeling like you constantly have to tell the world that you're going out on the road.
Also, you had the South by Southwest song. Aside from parking, what other pitfalls are there to the whole festival experience as far as being a band?
You mean specifically like the South by Southwest festival?
Just kind of in general, it seems like the whole festival model is kind of like taken over as far as like the best way for bands to get exposure.
Like a normal festival, like a 1 day or 3 day festival, like a Bonnaroo or a Riot Fest or something like that.
Yeah.
I think those are cool. Those are fun because it's always a bunch of cool bands. You get to see a bunch of bands that you probably wouldn't have seen otherwise, or they're all in the same place. And if you're performing at those festivals, it's a lot of fun because it's a really neat experience. And we've been lucky enough to like do it a couple of times. South by Southwest is not like that at all. I mean, if you're like one of the bigger bands playing on like the huge stage in the park or whatever, it is, but for everyone else who's just playing at like 2 p.m., at one of the hundreds of places having live music that week in a 3-block radius or whatever it is, it's just kind of exhausting. And I've been before and I've definitely had fun there and I've had fun doing it. But, after a while, it's just kind of like, I don't know anymore specifically if it's worth it, if you even get out of it what you put into it, really. Like, I don't know how much networking gets done there anymore. I don't know how much substantial exposure happens for a band there anymore,
Yeah, for sure.
So, I don't know. That's my thoughts on that.
Now that you mentioned that, I realized I have seen you guys twice because I saw you up at Bloodfest.
That was a cool fest. I loved Bloodfest. That was really fun. I mean, the first time we played Bloodfest, somebody threw an iPod at me.
Did it hit you?
Yeah, we took it with us. We never got it to turn on. It was locked. It to turn on in the car.
Nice.
They gave it to. It wasn't like we stole it. Like they were like, take this iPod, and they threw it at us, and we took it.
I thought it was like the millennial equivalent of like getting pegged with tomatoes. Like someone was mad and you got hit with an iPod.
No, they weren't mad, but I mean, they did literally throw an iPod at us, though.
What is your?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your.
I was just gonna say, yeah, that iPod just sat untouched in the van for like a year before we tried to figure out how to open it, and then we couldn't. So that's the end. Well, actually, maybe Devin got it unlocked at one point, and there was like nothing on it. I can't remember. Not a very compelling end to that story.
So do you have like a frame of reference of like top show you guys have played as Rozwell Kid that you compare everything else to?
Not really. We've played a lot of really fun shows. We've had a lot of really good times. One that always sticks out in my mind, though, is when we played the Fest for the first time. And it was our first time ever playing in Florida, our first time at the Fest. And it was our first US tour also. So we were really green and really, we hadn't been out that much outside of our little bubble. And it was a packed house and people were singing these songs back to me that had never happened before, like people knowing the lyrics to our songs.
Nice.
I remember, yeah. And I remember walking out of that show and like, I think I said out loud to Adam, I was like, if that was the last show we ever played, then I'm cool. That was fun. So and it wasn't, thankfully, we got to play more shows and have more good times. But I just remember that feeling of like, it was like the first time in my life of playing music that I felt like people had actually gone out of their way and shown up to like come watch the band because they liked it and they wanted to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or my band, the music that I was writing.
So conversely, do you have like a worse show where you're playing, to the other bands and their girlfriends?
Played a lot of shows like that. Yeah. Just trying to remember, like,
I mean, all the touring, did you ever find yourself like in an odd venue or situation where you weren't really sure? Like,
yeah, we played when we toured with Super Heaven. We played the venue was literally in like a Motel 6 somehow, or it used to be a Motel 6 and like it had like this like venue attached to it. And I just remember one of our guitar amps quit working during the show and I cut my lip open on the microphone because it had like a busted grill. I was like, this cannot get any worse for us today. This is not a good time. That one specifically sticks out.
So you guys got hooked up with the Feed the Beat Taco Bell promotion.
Oh, yeah, we did.
What would your dream meal from Taco Bell be? Current and past items.
You know, I went through a phase where I was really into they had this thing called the Rattlesnake Burrito. Do you remember that?
No, that sounds very exotic.
I know I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to Google it to see what was in it
I'm
because
tempted as well.
it was the steak rattlesnake fries burrito. So it had seasoned fries, nacho cheese sauce, steak, spicy creamy jalapeno sauce, and sliced jalapenos.
That sounds great.
It was awesome. I would get that every time. It was a limited item. I don't think they do it anymore.
No, they've got a little note at the top of the website.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I right before I said they don't do it anymore, I saw the price on the website and I was like, wait a minute. I almost got really excited. I feel like I'm a commercial for Taco Bell right now.
I've been trying to figure out just from context clues which Michael Keaton blew your little mind. I'm assuming it was Tim Burton adjacent.
I guess we don't say it in that song, do we?
No, I was trying to figure it out. I was like, is it
You know
Beetlejuice or Batman?
I've never realized that until now. I guess I just assumed that everyone would realize I was talking about Batman. But wow, he just blew my mind a little bit. It's a true story. I saw Batman and then I just learned how phone books work. So I was trying to find his number in our local West Virginia phone book because I wanted to call him up, tell him how much I love the movie. And that was when I found out that he wasn't listed in the Cowan, West Virginia phone book.
Did you get any other Michael Keatons to answer your phone call?
No, I don't think there were any Keatons that lived in the area. Definitely no Michael Keatons.
What would you say is your proudest accomplishment with Roswell Kid?
Oh, I don't know. Making the kind of music that we want to make and writing the kind of songs that I want to write and just staying true to that part of myself and that vibe and that nature, I guess.
Yeah.
That, and then also I feel like we've always put on a really good live show and we've always tried our best and tried our hardest to entertain. And yeah, I feel like we've put on a pretty damn good show every time we play it.
So do you prepare any stage banter beforehand or is that all on the fly? Because you're a pretty funny guy. Just don't know.
Thank you. No, I feel like I've tried to prepare stage banter in the past and it never works. Like I'll be in the van, I'll be like, I'm going to try this joke out on stage tonight. And it's always a disaster. So it's always best for me personally to just kind of feel out the room, go with the flow, live in the moment. That's where the best material comes from on stage, I think.
So you mentioned kind of taking a break here with a pandemic and lockdown and everything.
Yeah.
Have you been writing any new material or what is your Roswell Kid 2023 State of the Union?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working on some new stuff. We played a handful of shows last year and we played a new song out during those shows, which was fun. That was a lot of fun. We've got a bunch of riffs that I just need to turn into songs and then just demoing and writing. Well, we don't have anything like 100% right now, but I think it looks like we're going to be playing some shows this summer. So we'll have something to announce about that sometime in the next couple months, I would say. And hopefully, recording sometime soonish. I don't know when. We don't have anything booked or anything like that, but hopefully we'll get some stuff together sooner than later. I mean, I don't know. The whole pandemic really screwed everything up, right?
Yeah,
for everybody. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about how inconvenient it was for everybody?
It was very disruptive.
I mean, I don't know about you. This is probably, everybody says this, but like, it really feels like I blinked and 3 years was gone. It was crazy. I can't believe that last record came out in 2017. It blows my mind that it's been that long since that record came out. It's like, I don't know.
I remember watching, what is that? Avengers Infinity War, where they've got like the 3-year blip. And I'm like, that's stupid. You can't believe that. And then like kind of the closest thing to that happened without actually happening. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. It's been a real trip. I wish I could say I was more productive in the past 3 years, but
did you take up any weird pandemic hobbies? Do you try baking bread or anything like that?
No, but I did get into cooking kind of, I don't know, out of necessity, but like, trying to limit going out and stuff. And
yeah,
I just started cooking more and it kind of became a thing where I would get really excited about cooking dinner every night. So that was a plus. That's something good that came from the pandemic for me personally. Now I have an affinity for cooking and I like to do it. And I just need to learn how to make some more things because I feel like I've got like a 7-dish rotation.
Do you have a go-to if you're like trying to impress somebody with the thing you can really pop?
I feel like I'm pretty good at making rigatoni alla vodka sauce.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Rigatoni alla vodka, like a creamy vodka sauce. I feel like I'm pretty good at that, but it's also not the most complicated thing in the world. So I feel like anybody could be pretty good at it. Cooking is not that complicated, really. I mean, I feel like baking is probably complicated, right? Like, cause it's like a science. You have to measure shit.
Yeah. The timing and measurements a lot more exact from what I understand.
Yeah. But it's cooking. It's like, as long as like the raw protein is cooked and as long as like you season it with salt like in pepper. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, honey, you can't go wrong. You just have fun with it.
Do you experiment any and try out some weird flavor combinations?
Yeah, I made some like Thai curry, and I put a sweet potato in it.
Oh, nice.
I guess it's not that crazy, but
Huh?
it was good. I
Yeah.
recommend it. And I made some chicken tortilla soup the other day, and guess what I put in it? A sweet potato.
Nice.
So I think the secret ingredient is just throw a sweet potato into everything. It'd
So
be
far,
great.
so good.
Yeah, I'm 2 for 2 right now. So
All right. Well, I guess, is there anything else you want to let us know about on the way out?
I don't think so. Just keep an eye out, keep an eye tuned to all the socials that I just told you I've been neglecting.
Yeah.
And I will dust off those logins and post about, any shows we have coming up this summer. And then, yeah, hopefully we'll get some new music out there into the world and we can start touring again.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun.
All right, man. Well, yeah, I appreciate you being on with us. Can't wait to hear the new stuff.
Thanks for having me on here. I really appreciate it.
For sure, man. It was a pleasure.
Take it easy.